pray for. Half an hour ago with Stacy and saying, God, please, I'm scared. And I know you're saying, thank you for risking representing our God in this way of life. And boy, do I appreciate it. And I want to tell you back, thank you for risking coming out here and praying, God, am I enough? Is Christ in me enough to be accepted, to be loved, to be known, to be able to make a difference? You guys, I've had the privilege of speaking all over to conferences and camps and churches and retreats and trainings and universities and colleges and all over the place. And I've seen a lot of things. May I just say to you, I've not seen this. You cats. You just got together 3 days ago and you're like a big traveling band. How in the world do you know the lyrics to Journey music? That's beautiful. So guys, thank you. You may be seated. So, what Mark was just saying about, do we believe it? Do we really believe it? I have this 3-word statement that stays with me all the time. Truth, trusted, transforms. For as long as I can remember, at age 27, I have believed that this is the Word of God, that it's infallible, that I can trust it, and it's created my convictions. This is the infallible Word of God, but unless I trust it, it's just a book of information. The wonder happens, the supernatural wonder happens when I trust it to be true. God never fails. All those things that we've been talking about. Nothing else transforms truth. Trust it. Transform it. But it won't if you're afraid of it. I was afraid of this. I loved Jesus, but I was afraid of his word early on. And a lot of us are. We read, it's interesting, the same words, but if we read it with a moralism filter or a shame filter, we'll read it differently. How do I explain what I mean? A shame filter. Wow. My shame didn't go away when I came to Christ. And so I would, here's an example. I would open up this word and I would read, John 14:15. If you love me, you'll keep my commandments. And great verse. But I read it because of my shame. I read it like Jesus was a pirate with 2 caffeine. If ye love me, if ye love me, you keep the commandments, you would. If you love me, and I don't much think you do. And I was terrified. Like how many? How much? How fast? What I do? This is maybe one of the only times that my Greek helped me that I learned in seminary, in Aramaic. If you love me, it reads like if, and we're not sure you do. But it's a first-class conditional, which means since or because. Because you love me, you're going to find yourself keeping the commandments. And by the way, there's really one overarching one that that really is there for all others, and it's just this. Love one another. Love one another. And because you have this brand new heart, it's what you most want to do. It's not even really a commandment. I mean, yes, it is, but it's more like, hey, eat more chocolate. If it'll help the team, I'm there. Because you love me, child, you're going to find yourself leaning into and obeying from the heart all the things that I want. All the things that I want. And it's a lot more beautiful than having a moralism or shame filter upon it. There's not one single word of condemnation or shame or powering up or anger at any believer in the New Testament. Period. You can run to this. You can run to this book with all your heart, you guys. So sweet. Well, tonight, I had been thinking before I came up here that some of the campers that you're going to run into will want to perform for you. And some of the campers will be way too cool for all of this. And they will let you know. And some won't know how to let themselves be known at all. They haven't done it before, and they're terrified to do it now. But all of them have stories. Every single one of them. Lots of stories. Some of them are really bad stories. And they have hid them from everyone. And it has taught them, in the very hiding of it, it's taught them a lie. It's taught them to believe lies about themselves, and it is making them sick. And those lies are keeping them from allowing themselves to be able to trust Jesus with their heart. And so you're here, supernatural, from all over the country. And God says, I want to use you through trust to have a chance to break through those lies. Maybe even more importantly, that in this room, that's good. Oh, gosh. I have the privilege I'm going to get to follow and hear how you guys are doing. But in this room, you're going to be that gift to each other. You're going to get to break lies of each other through trust. And that's what I want to talk about tonight. I wrote a book on my worst day, and it's simply a book of me going through my life and wondering now, knowing the way I know Jesus now, what would he say to me now on some of my worst days, my hardest days? And so this one is from 1964. And I read it for a specific reason. These days I cared mostly about running fast and listening to Vince Scully describe the Dodgers on the radio and convincing enchanting Lucille Engel to like me. Orange trees still outnumbered homes, and life was pretty idyllic in 1964. Except my fifth grade class was run by this tough kid. He had two older brothers who, for all I knew, were already in prison, or should be. I didn't yet know much about evil, but his family, they seemed evil. He had beaten up 3 kids in our class, and it was only October. He didn't hit me because he was entertained by them. One day he informed me that we would meet at the railroad tracks on this coming Saturday morning. Those particular tracks ran through the center of town, ending at an orange packing plant. For us kids, oh my, that plant was a glorious place. Upland was one of the great citrus hubs. Dozens of open-top freight cars were 3/4 filled with oranges, waiting to be sent out to places like Billings or Topeka. On late afternoons after cul-de-sac wiffle ball or front yard football, dozens of us could be found lying on our backs inside the train car filled with huge, nearly fluorescent oranges. The workers didn't even care we were in there. There were so many oranges. We'd eat them till our mouths burned. Nobody had scurvy in our neighborhood. On that Saturday, like 6 dozen times before, I climbed the train's steel ladder and dove into orange heaven. But it was early Saturday morning and no one was yet in the cars. He followed me in, and he slowly leaned towards the back wall as he closed the steel grate, and it suddenly became pitch black. He was staring at me intensely. I experienced the sensation of being trapped for the first time in my life. And he slowly informed me what he would now do to me and what I would now do to him. Twisted perversion I'd never even heard of before. I was terrified. That morning changed my life. I remember little what happened after emerging from that boxcar. I got home, or what I did after I got there. I had no memories of him after that morning. But I carried this embedded maxim which has clung to me like a wet sweater all my life. No one must ever know what happened. I will go through this alone. I will find a way to never think about this again. I'll be all right. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. But no one can know it. I'm going to be okay. And a previously innocent and playful kid walked with a limp from that thought on. I was still funny. I seemed like a normal kid. I would pitch on my town's Little League All-Star team. Lucille Engel would like me. But something insidious was going on inside, all alone. Inside. Shame. Shame tries to convince us that we caused the evil which happened to us. It continually whispers if anyone could know the truth of who we are, they would leave us or pity us. So we're left to bluff and posture and guard and defend. Shame teaches us to perform for God's acceptance. To keep paying for something we eventually can no longer even name. The boxcars are still there, they still stand, rusting and silent. A visible and deniable part of Upland's past, my past. I've driven past them dozens of times, bringing my family to see the town of my childhood. No one in our car ever noticed me staring at the boxcars we drove by. In decades. Half a century now. After that day in the boxcar, I cling to this. Jesus, you make no mistakes. You've got me. You make even better beauty out of the most heinous. You never left my side. You hated it more than I did. You stood in it with me. You gave me dignity. You continue to stand with me in the arena to protect my heart and my reputation. You are redeeming all, you will redeem all this damage. You died to take away the power of this shame, Jesus. You dropped everything to stand over me the day it all turned dark. I read that to tell you guys, I did not tell my parents that day what happened. I did not tell anyone what happened. All the way through 5th grade, all the way through junior high, all the way through high school, all the way through college, all the way through my wandering years. I didn't tell anyone, even after I married Stacy, never told her. We wrote a book, True Face. I was co-author on that, and I never told anyone. It took like 38 years for me to tell someone. And when I did it, it was just, I don't know, it was just one of the one of the two people I trusted the most in the world. And made me sick. Everywhere I went, I thought, oh my gosh, the chameleons who do these people need me to be? Because I can't have, I felt like everybody could tell. Like everyone had always been able to tell that something was wrong with me. That's what hiding does. So God gives us a gift of each other to get to come out of hiding. And when we do, it changes everything. It frees us. It brings us not just home, but to a new home. Every single one of us, this is going to sound so strange, I think. Every single one of us has limitations. And it's not from Satan, it's not from the fall, it's from God. He gave us, each of us, specific limitations. Now, why would the God who loves me so much create me with limitations? I feel like I could do so much if I didn't have these limitations. Why in the world would he do that? So that we would get loved. I cannot get loved without limitations. Because of this, these 7 words. Love is the process of meeting needs. Period. Love is the process of meeting needs. And so God gives me limitations so I can have someone else meet my need. And I get loved. And I get known. I get protected. I get safe. And when we bluff like we have done, or when we're in settings and cultures where we're supposed to just do, how you doing, Bob? Doing great, Jared. Doing great. Family's good. A lot of liquidity in the business world. Great. Doing great. We never get loved. You may be impressed with me, you may be brag on me, but I don't get loved. And you don't get to love me. So in communities where we have to bluff that we're doing just fine, nobody gets loved. It's interesting too. Instead of getting wisdom, insight, and discernment, I'm going to say this later, if you're not trusted, all you can get is information. And so our churches can sometimes be filled with information and a lack of trust. Until I allow someone else to stand with me in an area of limitation, I receive little of their love. Would you put up this first slide? It's a real happy one. The spiritually immature are not loved well. But it's not because they've been failed. They're not loved well because they failed to trust the love of another. And because they trust in one, their needs aren't met. Because their needs aren't met, they live in selfishness. Not only do they not receive love, they don't get to give it. You guys all attach names to that, of people that you know. And I know that I hear people say to me, John, no, trust no man. I only trust God. He meets my needs. Of course he does. But he uses you and I to get to do that with skin on. In fact, John, put up that slide if you would. John 13:34 says, a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, even as I have loved you, that you also love one another. It's not the 11th command, it's a whole new order of command that for the first time somebody can obey without it making them rebel. I want you to love one another, you guys. It's in you now. I'm not asking you to do something you don't have. It's who you are. Oh, and by the way, for there to be lovers, there have to be some lovings. And so that's why we trust one another. But I want you to look at something really cool too. The next verse I'm going to put up, Galatians 6:2. This is 30 years later. And Paul now says, I want you to bear one another's burdens. I want you to get down and lift. Not just travel mercies. I'm talking burdens. The things that they can't fix. They need to be convinced that there's someone who will stand with them and be able to hear the worst about them and not leave, but draw closer. They're begging for it. I'm begging for it. So here he is. He says, and when you do that, you fulfill the love of Christ that we just looked at in John 13:34. 30 years later, Paul says, that's how you fulfill it. Just be there. Earn another person's trust and get to love them. Get to stand with them and not run away. In fact, as they fail, draw closer. That's the privilege that you guys get to have. God does this thing. He says, I want to earn your trust. God? Why would you say that? I'm supposed to earn your trust. He says, I know in my name. But until you really do trust me, nothing of any value happens. So I'm going to say, I would like to earn your trust. You see it all. Taste and see that the Lord's good. Try me out. And then, once you trust me, then things come alive. Then transformation happens. So, you cannot receive much love unless you trust another. And you can't give much love unless you are trusted. In fact, the extent to which I trust you is the extent to which I can receive your love, no matter how much love you have for me. The extent to which I trust you is the extent to which I'll let you love me, no matter how much love you have for me. Those are hugely important words to a parent. So, I'm wanting so much to earn your trust because I'm a lover. That's who I am. That's who each of you are. So you want to start looking around and say, who is it that God, who are you giving me that I can earn their trust? By the way, you earn trust not by being sinless, but by being able to say, I don't have the capacity to do what you're asking me to be able to do. I can't do it. I just want you to know I don't have those chops. But if you ask me to do something I can do, oh my gosh, I'm so honored. I'm all in. I am all in, and I'm telling you that I will be there. And then to actually be there, that's the integrity that earns you trust. So, I want to earn your trust because I want your trust so you won't hide behind lies. See, I've got these lies that nobody can see. They're behind the wire. And the only thing that gets to them is when you've earned my trust. And we can talk about it. I've got it, and I need people to see it. I need it to know. I need people to stand with me. Here's some. God, I think this sin is too strong for you. I think I'm the only one who has that, but I still want to bring it up anyway. God, I think that this sin satisfies me more than you do. God, you haven't taken care of me, I don't think, the way you've taken care of some others. Now, those are lies. And until they get revealed by having someone in my life that I trust enough who will not throw me under the bus, they stay hidden there and they keep manifesting themselves. Bring up the next slide. Humility, instead of being a positive trait that as soon as I say that I have it, I lose it, humility is trusting God and others with me. Humility is saying, I can't do this. I have some really weak areas that I need you in. I used to direct plays, a lot of plays for many years, and I was a really good director, I think. The only person I couldn't direct, there was one guy I could never direct, me. I couldn't see myself accurately. I needed someone else who could see me accurately. Guys, we can't see ourselves accurately. So I want to earn your trust so I can stand with you. And you want to learn to trust others so that you can be loved. You know where it is exceedingly powerful? Oh my gosh, if I could give you one gift, it's this. You know what God allows to be the one thing that will break that sin cycle once I get in it? The thing that I can't seem to stop, that I haven't been able to stop, the reoccurring one that just, I can't pray it away, nothing's doing it. You know the thing that will stop it? Is having somebody that you trust enough that you can call or show up and say, I want to tell you the sin that I'm intending to commit. I would like to tell you the sin that I am intending to do. In that moment, the cycle is broken. And you are free. Yeah, it may come back again. But in that moment, to have a friend like that, you guys, I had to do it. But we'd already written about it before I'd ever done it, before I'd ever tried it. But I had a friend, Randy Thompson. He was my best friend. He has Pick's disease now. He has dementia. He wouldn't recognize me anymore. But he was my best friend. He was the worship pastor at Open Door when I was the preaching pastor. And a bad set of circumstances hit me to do something I thought I would never do, and I was in very big danger of doing it. And I actually was taking steps towards doing it. When I said, I've heard about this before, I've actually written about it. I'm going to try tonight. And I called Randy to tell him the sin that I was intending to commit. It is so hard to do that, you guys. Hey, Randy. Hey, buddy. I know it's late. I'm sorry, man. I just checking in. You know, doing the old bingo bango. How are you, Tiger? Yeah. No, nothing. Just calling to chat, man. You know. Okay, no, that's not true, Randy. I'm in trouble. I'm in really bad trouble. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I just did this. I just drove my bike, and I told him all about it. And Randy said, John, stop. Just stop where you are. I'll be right there. And I got to say these words to him. Randy, you don't have to do anything. The power just got broken. Just by having someone that I love so much and trust so much who I knew would not throw me under the bus, I'm going to be okay. Randy, thank you. You can go back to bed, man. I love you. Thank you that you would protect my family and my ministry and my future ministry and relationship, everything. You've been a friend to me. Thank you. Go back to bed. You know what positive influencers do, really great friends do, is they put the onus on them, and they don't say, hey, you should trust me. Well, see, that's the problem. Hey, you should trust me. No. What can I do to earn your trust? Wow. So the onus is put on me. I want to tell you, this is maybe something you don't want to hear, but I'll be gone in a couple days. Accountability. Man, that sounds cool, doesn't it? We're going to get an accountability group going. Yeah. Accountability is great for job descriptions. It is lousy for the human heart. Because it causes me to lie and hide from the people I love the most. What I need is protection. What I need is someone who will stand against all evil for me, and who I can say, I want to tell you the sin that I'm intending to commit. I need protection, not some accountability group. I'm done with that. So part of all this, how we get to earn trust, how we get to be close to each other, there is a language of love, and it's called affirmation. The ability to say, look you in the eyes and say, I know who you are. I want to tell you what you do that is so beautiful. Not about your talents, your skills, but about your person. When we don't do that with each other, Proverbs 27:2 doesn't happen. Proverbs 27:2 says, let another praise you and not your own mouth. Isn't that good? It's terrible when you have to brag on yourself. But to have someone else be able to brag on you is very beautiful. Affirmation does not puff up the heart. I hear it all the time. People will say something positive. I don't want to make your head big, John. Who you can get. No, affirmation never puffs up the heart. Sincere affirmation does not puff up the heart. Instead, it humbles the heart and causes me to want to do more of what I've been affirmed for in the setting that affirmed me. Oh, you guys. It's the currency of love. And it lets me in. It lets us into each other. So this is why we want to have enough time and opportunity and permission to tell our stories to each other. And to have an opportunity with the campers to be able to tell their stories. Whether that's 3-on-1 or 11-on-1, 2-on-1, whatever that is, to create an environment of grace so safe where someone starts to out themselves and doesn't have regret that they did. Oh my gosh. I thought I was never going to tell anyone this. You guys, it took me 38 years to tell someone. Now I can't stop telling people. I'm free. What a beautiful thing. I love what Ann Voskamp wrote one time. Shame dies when stories are told in safe places. Isn't that good? Shame dies when stories are told in safe places. So give me that next slide if you would. I just want to kind of give you how this maps out. See, information is accessed by the mind. Love, wisdom, insight, and discernment is accessed through the heart. And the heart is accessed by trust. And trust is accessed by authenticity and integrity. And authenticity is displayed in vulnerability, and vulnerability creates permission to be loved and to influence with love. To be loved and to give love. That's what it is to be known. And this wonderfully glorifies our God. Instead of appealing to the flesh, hey, you should, you ought to, why don't you, when will you? We get to woo the new nature to come out and play, the new heart. What a beautiful thing. It's more powerful. People obey from the heart instead of compliance when they're wooed out. Oh, it's beautiful. You don't have to tell people, hey, what's wrong with you? When are you going to start? You're a Christian, the verse says this, and you ought to do that. No, a new heart. This is how it's worked. In one of our books, we wrote this. All of us are awakening to the pain of realizing I can't control my world the way I thought I could, and I'm stuck with unresolved issues. whose symptoms I'm trying to fix, all without the help of anybody else. All of us are awakening to the pain of realizing I can't control my world the way I thought I could, and I'm stuck with unresolved issues whose symptoms I'm trying to fix. I'm just trying to fix things. I don't even know what the issues are. I'm just trying to fix things so I don't get embarrassed. And I'm doing it without the help of anybody else. Now, here's where you guys get to break the cycle. What if there was a place so safe, like in your group, for example, in your cabin, in your relationships here? What if there was a place so safe that the worst of me could be known, and I would discover that I would be loved more in the telling, not less? What if there was a place so safe that the worst of me could be known? Not everybody, nobody down at the DMV cares. What if there was a place that the worst of me could be known, and I would discover I would be loved more, not less, in the telling of it? And the answer is, your unresolved issues would start to heal. Now, I want to finish with a story about Stacy and myself. My wife, she is the pretty blonde woman about halfway back. We wrote a book called The Cure. It was a retelling of the book True Face, maybe 10 years ago. And before it came out, our publishers wanted to have some indifferent readers, just so they could be honest, not fans, but indifferent readers. So they just kind of threw it out to some people. Some of them weren't believers, some were, and they would give us their take on the book. And we'd give them a book, and there you go. And so we met together as a team, and I was at the computer, our staff at TrueFace, and we sat around and we had these on 5x8 cards and their comments to us, and so that somebody would read them and I'd type in some of the insights, and it was great. It was real helpful stuff that caused us to make some changes in the book in the 11th hour. Then guys, when we wrote books, Bill Thrall and Bruce McNichol and I wrote maybe 5 books together. And Bill is the wisest person I know. Bruce is the greatest logician I know. But I was the one who wrote the book. I would take our insights and I would create the characters and the storyline, and that's what I did. And so one of the cards came and said, I really enjoyed the insights and the truths in the book, but whoever wrote the characters and the story has to go to writing school and then promise that he will never write again. This is terrible. And I read it, and all right, let's, stuff. And I kept my game face on until the meeting was over, and then I went to my office, and that changed cycle started swirling around. See, there you go, that's what you do. God, you kill things. Everything you touch, it's been that way all your life. Man, oh man, you're gonna ruin this book. God, you do this all back to 7th grade. This is Magruder. Your class, that was me, the Lulig. I did the same thing. I'm going through this litany of my entire life of how I destroy things. And I get a call on my phone. It's Stacy. Hey, and she says, hey, how are you? And I said something like, Tajashmi. And she said, what? I'm just calling about when you're coming home for dinner, I just want to have dinner ready. And I said something like, well, they're kind of came in then, and she said, you don't sound good. And I said, how that goes and everything. And you guys, I've been married to Stacy for, 15 years? No, not at the time. I've been married like 84 years now. I'm just talking in a hyperbolic past. There isn't a such thing as a hyperbolic past. I was just there a moment ago. Listen, at this time I was married to Stacy about 15 years ago. I hate what I'm just about to say to you. I never trusted Stacy with the real inside me. I was terrified that anyone would know that little boy inside who was scared. I wanted her to be proud of me. I wanted her to respect me, and I couldn't let her know. And Stacy, in the meanwhile, had been doing everything in her power to earn my trust, so that one day, I would let down and let her in and let her protect me. Because she knew that I was self-destructing. Because it wasn't just her, it was everywhere. And she did it because she loved me. She also did it in self-defense. Because when I get embarrassed, I can't stay embarrassed very long. Eventually, embarrassment turns into blame. This can't be about me again. No. This is about you. Even though you weren't even there or part of the situation. And I would often take it out on Stacy. Or my kids. Or somebody at the elders meeting. And so Stacy has been gently earning my trust all those years she was. And this day, for whatever reason, I said, honey, I'm scared. I don't know what to do. This guy just wrote this card that said I shouldn't write books anymore, that I was terrible, that I was ruining the book, and I don't know what to do. I'm so afraid. I don't know what to do, honey. I feel like I'm a failure, like I'm doing it again, like I've done it all the times before. And Stacy, if you knew Stacy, you would understand why she just said what she said, but she said these words to me. Well, I always told you you were a better speaker than a writer. Excuse me while I go find a bridge. And then she said, and John, I love you so much. And I want you to know some things. I read this script, these pages that's going to become the book, and I think it's going to be used a lot all over the world. And I wish that the guy who critiqued you or girl who critiqued you knew that you were living out all these truths that you write about, that you love our family so well, and I'm so proud of you. And then she said, now come home, my husband. Come home. I'll have your meal on the table in the backyard. There'll be a fire going. I'll have those twinkle lights up above. And when you come, I will meet you at the front door and we will kiss like rabbits on shore leaves. I think I made that up in my head. Rabbits on shore leaves. Come home, my husband. And I did. You guys, I want to tell you, I came home, and she did. She met me at the door and kissed, and we went into the backyard, and Neil was in front of me, and I'm shaking. I'm a mess. But I want to tell you something. I trusted my wife with my heart for the first time. And for the first time, I got protected. I want to tell you something else. Nobody got hurt that night. Did you hear me? Nobody got hurt. And in the Lynch family line, a new chapter was written. And children get to grow up in the beauty of that. And they get to have that beauty with their own children and their own grandchildren and beyond. You guys, this is not just play acting. To be able to trust someone else with your heart and to let yourself be known, you get protected and you get loved. And to be someone to earn that trust, nothing sweeter. You guys, I wish I could be here just to watch you, because the Spirit of God is brightly and powerfully and uniquely amongst you. And you're going to watch this happen over and over and over this summer. Now, I wish I could be here, my young heroes. Father God, thank you. Thank you that you have set up this world this way, that we don't have to keep stumbling through like frightened children, alone, afraid, freaked out, and bluffing. Instead, we can be known, and we can be protected. And we get to live this life powerfully and sacredly and boldly. I give these precious, strong ones to you in the authority of Christ Jesus. Amen.
Do me a favor, before you pack up. I want you to sit on this one. It's just like what I said before John spoke, we all have a choice. You just laid some truth out there for you. It's a truth that you'll fight the rest of your life. So I just want you to sit in that. Just close your eyes for a minute. Thinking back to some of the songs that we sang. Knowing that we have a God that isn't going to fail us. Are we willing to trust, love each other, and allow ourselves to be loved? You can open your eyes. I can tell you in this context, if you can embrace that and take a chance on it, you will change the world. I don't know if we're ready for that. That's something that you and the Lord are going to have to take some time. A few things for you. This has been a lot. 2 days. You guys have been champions. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for participating. Thank you for bringing your full self in these days. Tomorrow we go back to some of our program-specific training. Now the good news is John still will be here for another night. I don't mean to be offensive, John, but the great news is 2 nights now you're going to get to hear from Jennings. There's a lot of great things that we have in store. And we're really, really excited that you're going on this journey with us this summer. It's going to be great.